What is up everyone? Here's the much wanted review of the Harley Benton Multiscale 7-string guitar. Let's see what the cheapest multiscale on the market can do. Now you may have seen my unboxing video of this. If you haven't and you want to see a guitar taken out of a package, click up there. First, let's take a look at the specifications of this instrument. We got a two-piece basswood body and a quilted maple top as quoted by Toman. To me this is more like a burl top and a matching headstock. Everything is finished in a very good gloss trans purple finish. We have a 5-piece maple NATO neck. Now NATO is a word which comes apparently from the so-called mora trees. I had to look that up because I've never heard of NATO wood before. But it seems to be commonly used by bigger companies such as Epiphone or Yamaha. I'm very sure that this has something to do with the CITES convention which entered into force January this year. It's supposed to protect endangered species, including woods such as rosewood, which is quite a big problem because almost every guitar has rosewood on it, at least a fretboard. And so for that reason we do not have a rosewood fretboard but a rose acer fretboard. I had to look that up too, and as far as I found out this is some kind of darkened maple wood. And to be honest, the grain looks better than a standard rosewood fretboard. Then we got a graphite nut, 24 fanned jumbo frets, and the scale length is 25.5 on the high string and 27" on the low string, which is really nice for low tunings such as drop A, drop G sharp, even drop G maybe. Alongside we have a no-name mono rail bridge with a string through construction which does what it does. Last but not least we got the HBZ custom wound pickups by Harley Benton, controlled by a master volume, a master tone and a 3-way selector. Okay, so how is this thing put together and how does it feel? Right out of the box, this is heavy as lead. I weighed it and it's about 4.1 kilograms, whereas my Ibanez 8-string is approximately 3.9 and my 7-string Carvin 3.3. Now overall, for 290 euros, this is very well put together. The finish is absolutely flawless as far as I can tell. The neck could be a bit more smooth, but I mean, it's okay. It's very nice how the neck is joined with the body. There's no big space anywhere between the body and the neck, and you can really hear that. The fretwork is good, however the fretboard was slightly damaged when the edges were filed. I mean, my 1800 euro custom overload headless looked similar to this, if not worse. You know, at least the frets are not bothering your playing, and you can only see it when you look closely. Let's stay relative to the price of this. The neck is quite a downside for me because this is really just a C-shaped chunk of wood. Now at first I thought it was a lot thicker than my Carvin, but I think the thickness is about the same, which is 20 millimeters on the first fret and around 22 millimeters around the 12th. But the Carvin just has better shaped edges here, and so the neck doesn't feel that big. Now something I noticed after some playing is that this spot here on the body is kind of poorly designed. You have your nice arch top here, but then it flattens out and creates a kind of harsh corner, because when you're really into the playing, this kind of cuts into your tendon. Now another design issue in my opinion is the headstock. Unlike the body, it just doesn't seem that attractive to me in the first place, but what is worse is that the strings do not go straight into the tuners, so the strings don't slide very well through the nuts, and it sometimes sucks when you're tuning the guitar. That is how it's done. Speaking of tuning, tuning stability is not the best, and I've seen other reviews of Harley Benton guitars. Tuners are really a problem because they're not precise and they kind of, I don't know, just move around a bit, and the overall tuning stability is suffering. Feeling wise, I think this guitar's biggest plus is the string action, which is absolutely mind-blowing for this price. Hands down, I played custom guitars that had a worse string action than this, it's all about the setup, and this happened to be set up by some guitar tech god, I think. I just happened to get a guitar that was very well set up. I just would never guarantee that every guitar is like this. I was probably just lucky. What also helps with the string action, I think, is the scale length, because you're able to use a lighter string gauge, and so you can set the string lower. Plus, there is no single dead spot on this guitar, which is absolutely insane. Now let's continue with another aspect, which is very important, but at which point this guitar shows its biggest problem. The sound. The "well, it was only 280 euros, so it's okay" phrase is not applicable here. Terrible would maybe too strong, but this isn't good either. And I honestly didn't expect anything else. It's just these two custom wound pickups. The guitar sounds huge acoustically. It's just those two pieces of junk that hold back this guitar's potential. Now okay, in the following song you're gonna think like, wow, it sounds nice, but I think that's more the mix context, which makes the guitar sound better than it does. Yeah, so it's somewhat acceptable in a mix, but just the feeling that it gives you while playing is not very pleasant and not inspiring at all. These high gain pickups just don't have enough output. But hear for yourself. Okay, now for those clips I adjusted the gain because otherwise it wouldn't be usable at all. Now to show you how bad the pickups really sound, I'm gonna compare this to my Carvin, which is obviously a high-end guitar. I'm going to clean some clean and distorted stuff, and then unlike before, I'm not going to change the preset. So I'm going to use the presets that I would use to play with the Carvin. So you will hear how the Harley Benton is going to struggle. I think especially when playing cleans, this one just lacks the crispiness in the high end. Now for you die-hard testers out there, from now on I'm going to upload with every new guitar review the raw DI track to my SoundCloud. So you can reamp the DI track at home or in your studio and see what the guitar would sound like through your setup. The download link is in the description below. Okay, now in the end, I'm still not sure what to think about this guitar. On one hand, I really like it because it has such a great setup, perfect string action, and such a great potential in sound. Also, the fan frets make it very easy to play. You don't notice the 27-inch scale at all. The low strings are nice and tight, although it's a quite light string gauge, and the high strings don't have that much tension, so they have a nice saturated sound and are good for the shreds. Plus, I think it looks quite cool, and it has fan frets. What have you got? On the other hand, the few bugs that I mentioned here and there are quite strong. First, the neck is a bit annoying. As a very bad lead player, I have always heard people talk about shreddy necks or not shreddy necks, and now I kind of start to understand what they're talking about. However, I must say, with every hour that I play this, I'm getting used to it. Very annoying is the missing bevel for your arm here, because after some hours it really starts to hurt. Furthermore, these tuners are just not stable, and that's kind of a big deal for a guitar, no? Last but not least, and that's the biggest problem, it's just the sound. It's just not inspiring and kind of takes away the fun. This guitar is so enjoyable to play, but the sound just doesn't do it justice. Now, what do you think? Should I invest in a decent set of pickups and new tuners? You know it's going to pass the price of the guitar itself, right? Now, in terms of pickups, I don't have that much choice, as I don't want to completely ruin the look of this guitar. Pickup rings are a no-go. So either active mount passive pickups or active pickups. A set of Seymour Duncan, Nazgul and Sentient active mount pickups would just cost as much as the guitar did. A maybe cheaper alternative would be looking for used EMG 707 or 707 X's. But then I still don't have my tuners, which are necessary, I think. I don't know, I'm just not enough convinced to do that. I'm super curious how it would sound with a decent set of pickups, but I also don't have an infinite amount of money to spend. So the question is, should you get one of these or not? If you are fine with at least spending another 100 euros on this, or at least for a new bridge pickup, and probably another 80 to 100 for a very decent set of good tuners, yeah, why not? I would not recommend to buy this as a live guitar, because it's so heavy, but as a studio workhorse makes more sense. So if you're interested in this type of guitar, 7-string and baritone, I think you have some good alternatives to this. For instance, the Jackson JS32-7 Dinky. It is only 60 to 100 euros more than this. Looks very cool and is probably the better instrument. I can't tell exactly because I haven't played one of these, but I'm sure Jackson know what they're doing. Another alternative maybe would be a used Ibanez RJD 7421, which is just like the Jackson, also a 26.5-inch scale. And I'm sure there are even more alternatives out there. I mean, I know it's a very hard choice to make. Should you buy a cheap guitar and invest in modifications, or should you spend a bit more money and maybe just change the pickups or nothing at all? Now the answer to that question is up to you. Thanks a lot for watching. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like and share the video if you enjoyed this Harley Benton 7-string FanFret Multiscale guitar, and also if you didn't. That's it for today. Take care and I'll see you next time.